On to this now. Former Productivity South Africa chairperson Mthunzi Mdwaba has exposed alleged bribery claims against 3 cabinet ministers in a failed UIF jobs deal. In a Sunday World article, the CEO of Tuja Capital, whose company was set to sign on the R5-billion deal, accuses unnamed ministers of trying to solicit a bribe through their associates in order to make the deal possible. Now, the Department of Labour and Employment has since suspended the multi-billion rand deal. For more on this, we're joined in studio by Tuja Capital CEO Mthunzi Mdwaba. Mr. Mdwaba, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Let's begin with what information I've read thus far, suggesting that Tuja Capital was established in December of 2022. Is that information correct? But add to that, was this around the same time that Thobile Lamati, the DG at the Department of Labour and Employment, signed on the dotted line on this R5 billion deal?
So there's your question, and then there's a lot of the introduction that I think it would be opposite for me to correct before I proceed.
Right.
Because I think from that point, then once I've given that proper context, everything will probably flow a little bit better. So firstly, in your introduction, and I think that's really what's been said in the media so I can understand, you say failed deal.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you also said was set to sign. And then also I'm CEO of Tuja Capital. So I'm CEO of Tuja Holdings.
Right.
Tuja Capital is a subsidiary of Tuja Holdings. The deal has not failed at all. I will not stop. I will be relentless till it's implemented upon, because it's a valid signed agreement having followed very rigorous and very robust processes of the Department of Employment and Labour and the Unemployment Insurance Fund. So given both those elements, I think for me, once I've given clarity to that, it becomes easier to deal with your question. So Tuja Capital, was registered in about 2019. Tuja Holdings was registered in December. I think that's why, for me, it's important to understand those two, right? And why register it in December? It was registered actually, I think, about a week to 10 days before the signed deal. And the rationale behind this is quite simple. The plan originally was to list a SPAC, a special purpose acquisition company. But the more we talked to people, especially the people who would match the funds we are getting, because the R5 billion in South Africa is actually a seed capital. I think maybe let's also stress that. Yeah. I've got friends all over the world that want to match this funding, who actually are shocked that we're still playing little games when they are ready to bring money to South Africa, right? So when we realized, especially after also talking to the IDC sent me a love letter around about September, I think, maybe August, September of 2022, basically saying, we don't like specs, we don't like listing, we're involved with Sasol, because we're involved way before Sasol listed. But now that we're involved with Sasol, we're staying with Sasol.
Okay.
So it's the only company we want to work with. It's important I explain this when I Xoli, because otherwise everything will be lost in translation.
Fine.
But an IDC then says, other than that, this resonates with us. We love this. We want to onboard our companies. We'd like to co-fund. I never even asked for co-funding, right? We then think, maybe we shouldn't rush with this spec thing, this listing thing. Rather, let's do what we're going to do later. Register a holding company, because Tuja Capital is but one that covers 8 of the sectors that are in our ecosystem. So our ecosystem, the Tuja parallel ecosystem, has 8 sectors of the economy, including finance, right? Let's rather register the holdings and tell the department that instead of signing the agreement as capital, let's sign it as holdings, particularly because one of the clauses in this valid agreement say that the UIF may exercise an option of taking up to 19% of the shareholding. So you don't want the UIF to take 19% of capital, but of holdings.
I have to come
That's
in.
okay.
Just so we have a flowing conversation,
yes.
I'm going to ask you to keep those responses short.
Yeah.
The simple question that follows, therefore, I understand the holdings would have been established in December of 2022. The capital, the company, is established in 2019. for people that have dealt with a government, the alarm bells start going off to say, why would this company be eligible for such a massive project involving such huge amounts of money when it is only roughly a year or two old? What qualified it?
Okay. So I'm going to also try and have brevity, but you have to understand that it's a bit complicated. It's a very complex matter. Firstly, what qualifies it is the fact that it was designed specifically and purely for the UIF. So this company did not exist for any other reason other than the UIF.
A special purpose vehicle.
For creating jobs. That's all. So for me, having owned a company in training, I built a company back in 2002, 2003 called Talk IT. If you look for it, you'll find it, right? We built it in 27 countries. We built it to be the best anything you can find. Right. Okay, Cisco Partner of the Year every year for 7 years, Microsoft Partner of the Year. I was IT Personality of the Year. I was Businessman of the Year twice in 2009. Okay, but nobody talks about that. It's like this Mafikizolo fly-by-night guy just came and is trying to do something fast. So we built this thing because as a labor expert, Xoli, that my country refuses to recognize for some strange reason. But the whole world recognizes that I'm a labor expert, having led all the employers of the world. Okay, I'm the only African to have led all the employers of the world.
In the ILO.
In the IOE, in the International Organization of Employers, and in the ILO.
Right.
So we formed this thing to make sure that the UIF does not lose money and saves money.
So answer me this then.
Yes.
Mr. Mdwaba. So this company, I mean, you've been very clear that this was a special purpose vehicle. But here is where people may have a problem. Because the Department of Labor is involved here. The UIF, which was going to provide the seed capital, is involved here. Then it is state-owned Productivity SA, which you were chairman of, including Tuja Holdings. So people are going to say conflict of interest. They're also going to say double dipping. Here's a special purpose vehicle created by a person who is an insider. Did you not see anything wrong with that?
Absolutely none. In fact, the reason I was removed, the minister tried to suspend me at first in terms of a section of the Employment Services Act. So I correctly said to him, sorry, you can't suspend me. I don't work for you. I've never worked for Productivity SA. I'm a chairman. I still am, by the way, because he's unlawfully removed me. But that's a matter of for a different day.
You're fighting that?
Oh, we will, of course. We're going to review it. It's rubbish. It's absolute nonsense. Right. And he uses exactly this so-called conflict of interest and other things that he quotes from a report I've never seen. Okay, but here's how it works. The Productivity SA entity is a creation of the Employment Services Act. I think Section 31 or Section 32 of the Act creates it. But the board of Productivity SA is the actual accounting authority for Productivity SA. So as chairman, non-executive chairman, I'm never part of any government processes. I'm never part of any governance. I'm never part of any committees. I don't see the people except as governed by the Act. The Act says we shall see as the board the minister once a year. I didn't see the minister for 4 years because he was avoiding me for reasons I've never understood. Okay? So all of a sudden now here he's busy at Productivity SA because he thinks he's removed me. But for 4 years, the only time I can see him is when the Act allows me to see him or when we invite him. He would delegate the deputy minister to events. Secondly, it is an entity of the Department of Employment and Labor from a custodian point of view. Now, one of the WhatsApps I have from Tulas Nlesi many years ago, 2019, he was refusing to sign our APP because he was saying, in my forward, I'm condemning his government. So I said to him, sorry, why is it your government? I mean, I don't understand. Why are you personal about your government? It's my government too. It's my country. So for me, actually, my country comes first, and then my government, and then my party, and so on and so on. Incidentally, I've always been an ANC member. I think if it's important. But the point is this, is that he refused to sign my AP because he didn't like my words. And my words were me doing my job and saying, we're going wrong. We're going to fall over a cliff. Eventually, he signed it. I suspect that's when he's been upset. Because he had to go and check if I can force him to sign. Because I said to him, you can either sign by yourself or I'll force you. Okay. So Productivity SA and the department have nothing to do with each other. But lastly, no, Xoli, I'm sorry, when you ask me these questions, I've got to answer everything. Yeah. Lastly, purely because I'm a good business person who knows that somebody is going to raise something at some stage, right? Now, Productivity SA is enjoined to create an environment for jobs, create an environment for avoiding retrenchment, create an environment for ensuring that we have a competitive environment. Tuja creates jobs, has 8 sectors of the economy, projects that I'll mention if you're interested and you ask me later, where we create jobs. One of the projects will create 15,000 jobs. That's more than any of the projects I've had combined. Okay? One project out of the 22 or 23 that I've got. But I decided to declare. And the board said 3 years ago, they said, why are you declaring? I said, because I think I might have to give Productivity SA money to partner with Productivity SA. They said, okay, then that must go to the ARC, the Audit and Risk Committee. Okay. It went to them, and they came back. They said they don't see why I'm declaring, but it's noted. That was one of 3 times that I declared, just in case people saw some stuff in it.
All right. Again, I'm going to stress we need to be brief because time is against us. What reason did the minister put forward for removing you as chair of Productivity SA?
It was the most incoherent letter I've ever written. He wrote 2 letters, but the one letter you could see was a fait accompli. No matter what I say, he said I must give him reasons, but when I gave him reasons, you could see it was ready to be sent out. He said conflict of interest, alleged conflict of interest, he said there was something relating to my being a delinquent director, I don't know, some time, which he used the same thing, by the way, to decampaign me as the ILO candidate in a secret meeting with Cabinet where he and his friends lied to Cabinet in September 21. He also used something where, when I was the chair of UWC, where I got rid of some bad apples on that council of University of Western Cape, that there was a judgment that said I was one of the most, terrible people under the sun. And I said to him, well, that judge said it, but it was an obiter dictum. He said it in passing. And quite I wasn't in court. I was one of the parties, so he's entitled to say what he likes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. But it's a list of, it's a laundry list,
yeah,
perhaps we should say. But a key among them, conflict of interest.
Alleged.
That's fine. Okay. Let's take a break, because when we come back, I want to ask you about the so-called gateway fees or gateway fees.
The gateway
bribery.
Fees. Yes, the gateway fees.
In essence, that you have alleged. Okay, let's take a break. When we return,
thank you,
we continue the conversation. We are in conversation with Tuja Holdings CEO, Mthunzi Mdwaba, and it's all got to do with that deal, 5 billion rand deal that you insist has not fallen off.
Nope.
Okay, let's then get to the gateway fees. I suppose it's another word for...
I didn't know they were called that, by the way, till I was approached.
So tell us about these people who approached you. You say it's 3 individuals. Who are they, and what specifically did they ask of you?
So they were representing 4 people. They were representing 3 ministers and 1 other guy. And it was actually quite interesting how it happened. I was invited to a meeting. My friends, who really, I've had some very supportive friends, who have been trying everything possible in terms of using and leveraging their networks to go and say, hey, what are we missing? This is an employment creation project. We need it. It's going to create over 700,000 jobs. What is the problem? Asking the questions. What have you done to English? I said, I don't know. What have you done to the other ministers? I said, I don't know. All I know is we have this beef, but I don't know where this beef is coming from. As for all I know, he actually shares a birthday with my mom. I've always known, I've given him gifts in the past, gifts that can be declared and whatever. So I don't know. But anyway, so I get invited to this meeting, ostensibly to come and find a way because the guys are lobbying, they're facilitating on my behalf. And then I get told things that shock me at first, that apparently when I invited the president of the country, Cyril Ramaphosa, I worked a way for him to chair the Global Future of Work committee at the ILO. He was one of 28 members of that committee, including myself, right? I should have briefed the president, but somehow I was blocked from briefing the president. I never understood. And then when the president was there, I could see he wasn't listening to what I was telling him, and yet I was one of 3 of his hosts, right? So I don't think the president appreciated this, that I'm a host there. I was one of the 3 bosses for the whole world. But I don't think, us South Africans, I think, don't process those things very well. That how can Xoli be the global guy? He's a South African black guy, right? But anyway, so I'm learned that day, 5 months ago when this convention started, that apparently the president was told by someone on his way to Geneva to co-chair the meeting with Prime Minister Stefan Löfven, that I'm a Zuma person. So I had set him up to destroy him. So I said, what? and he didn't check this? Who would say such a thing and then you don't check it? No, clearly he was fooled, I was fooled, everybody was fooled. And only then do they understand why I ended up disagreeing with President Ramaphosa in terms of his conclusions, because I am one of 3 people who have a constituency there.
All
anyway, he then, they move forward and they say, look, their principals are willing to talk and to help me with this. I said, but why are they helping me? It's a valid agreement. I don't understand. Read the agreement. It's properly structured. The UIF will be a shareholder amongst other
Let's
things.
get something clear.
Yeah.
They are coming to you saying they are there on behalf of their principals.
Yes.
I've got to ask the question, are these government people?
Yes.
These 3 people that have approached
Yes.
you?
In fact, one of them says he advised the president many years prior not to talk to me because I'm a Zuma person, but now he realizes they were wrong.
Are you at all at liberty to share with us their names, or at least the departments from which they come, or they came?
Well, there's a podcast that's being released today, or maybe it's been released whilst I'm here, by a newspaper. I think that's where you saw the headline this particular weekend. And I've mentioned the names to the journalist. That's why he can say in the newspaper that he has the names. Right?
So tell us.
Well, I don't want to preempt him and take away from him, but let me put it to you this way. So the leader of the pack here is Nxesi, who apparently knows he can't come back after the election. He's desperate to do a number of things. One, he's trying to have a heist of the department, hence the abusing the DG.
All right, just a quick point of clarity. You're saying that Minister Thunas Nxesi is among the people that are allegedly involved in this 500 million rand bribe solicitation.
No. He's leading that process because he knows he's not coming back. Apparently, the only reason, and he knows that he's there now, is because President Ramaphosa, who's embarrassed, I'm told, and disgusted by his behavior on this matter and others, and the fact that he's failed to create jobs, as he's been called a minister of unemployment by the youth. But because there's a deal between the president and the SACP, I'm advised. I mean, I wouldn't know this. The South African Communist Party, apparently, there's a deal. Even when he should have been reshuffled, he wasn't reshuffled at the last minute. Many people want him gone. Cosatu wants him gone at the time. I don't know if they still want him gone now.
But the SACP is standing in the way.
Because
this is a former...
they will assist the president. No, they'll assist the president in the election. I mean, come on. I mean, how can we have a country like that? I don't know if this is true. This is what I'm told.
Okay. All right.
This is what I'm told.
I don't want us to digress too much.
He is leading this, and then his fellow ministers. You see, now when I was telling you the department, somebody will tell you the name. I mean, it's like, I don't know what the difference is between the two, to tell you the truth. But the one is the Ministry of the Department of Higher Education, who is his leader in the SACP. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. Who's also somehow seemed to have beef with me. He lied in cabinet that he wanted to get rid of me as UWC chair of council when he can't. No minister can remove you as chair of council. You can be removed by your council.
All right. So by now, you have given us 2 names.
Yeah.
One you are explicit about, Thunas Nxesi.
Yeah.
And the other, you won't mention his name, but we know that he runs the Department of Higher Education and Training.
He does. Then I was told that the other one is the minister who is involved with a very big player in our country called Treasury. This had been okayed with him. This conversation was okayed with him. It needed to be okayed with him because Nxesi had always said he's going to suspend or he's going to cancel and, he's going to send it to Treasury to investigate, which, by the way, in itself is nonsense because Treasury has no say in this matter. This is not law. This is Section 5D of the Unemployment Insurance Fund.
Mr. Mdwaba, I need to stop you. This is very big.
Yes.
You're saying that the minister who runs Treasury is party to this.
Okayed it, I was told.
Why do you believe these people that indeed they are sent by these ministers?
The only reason I'm not mentioning these people's names, the other ones, is because there's some part of me that is alive to the realities of this country. Chief Justice Zondo 54 weeks ago told us about corruption in this country and nothing's been done, right? And then this stupid guy called Tebogo Kasi, I'm sorry, he's a very stupid little man, goes and comes up with public interest statements last night. This guy also has a personal vendetta against me. I have to address that. I'm staying on it, but I need to because I'm thinking about all the linkages. So I then get told that to proceed with the conversation, he is a very important minister to check with. And that all of them know there's nothing wrong with my project. In fact, they say, Nlesi said to him, to the head of Treasury, when they were talking about where are they going to get jobs for the next day, for the election, because they need to talk about jobs. They are going around now pretending they are creating jobs when they are not, right? They said, Nlesi said, and this is Nlesi language because I know him. He said, hey, you know, there is a project in Ntswembu. Now, Ntswembu, for those who don't know, Ntswembu means it's sharp, right? The only problem is the person who owns it. That's the only problem. He says, but it's amazing, this project, right?
All right.
Yes.
So let's do this.
Yes.
Time is really running out now. Have you gone to a police station to either lay a charge against the people that are sent to you or the so-called masterminds? Why not?
And I have no intention of doing so. Do you know that my mother was praying when I'm coming and sent me a message I can read for you that she's scared that I'm even here? I came here because of your producer. She's a very convincing human being. Okay? I must tell you. My friends, I met a friend in the gym today and he said, you got to change your ways. Don't be... I've been told this before, for 3 years, that I must change my ways, I'm going to be killed.
So you don't trust the police?
But no, I don't. I don't trust anybody.
Is that the reason you're not laying a charge?
I don't trust the police. I don't trust our systems. I don't trust anything. Xoli. I don't, right? Because I've taken my time to measure and to think about this and to think, how do I get to the end of this and get my contract done without getting other people killed?
So
I'm responsible for me.
But here's a contradiction, Mr. Mdwaba.
Yeah.
You don't trust the very government that you are fighting to work with. You are fighting to have a contract with.
Yes.
How does that work?
No, it works this way. You see, that's why it's 5 billion. It's so that I don't have to keep going to the government to keep asking for 100 million and for 500,000. That's why it's 5 billion. Because the 5 billion, in terms of the concept, in terms of the parallel universe ecosystem I built on 8 sectors to build 700,000 jobs, we've got to work in a very a systematic way without bureaucracy going back to them. And the Department of Employment and Labor is the one that funds it. UIF becomes a shareholder, but I don't work with them after that. I work for them. I work on behalf of. But I don't work with them. And there's a fourth guy, but I'll mention on another day when you've got more time.
Please do.
No, I'll mention.
He's
not a minister.
Okay, but who is he?
But I was told he also knows about it, and he's happy as well that they should have this conversation of 10% with me.
Who is the person?
He is a guy who's very important in the ANC office.
Who is the person? Or at least tell us what office does he run at the ANC?
You pushy. I think when I leave here, I'm going to be in bigger trouble. He's the SG. I was told he knows. He has cleared, he's happy. He's happy to be these ministers, and he must be also looked after. Everybody's going to be happy going forward. It's the only way I'm going to get my contract done. But I said, my contract is signed. What are you talking about? Why do I need to do anything else other than sign a contract from an accounting officer who's also the accounting authority of the UIF? He's both, quite frankly. He's resigned now, poor guy, just because he's been demonized and treated like debt. And all he tried to do was to find an innovative way, and instead they set on him the Gaulas who don't even have, I'm told, qualifications. I don't know him. And who's improperly appointed. So if you look at Gaula, you look at Tebogo Kas, you look at Sibonelo Skiti of the Sunday Times, and you look at Nlesi, one WhatsApp group.
All of these people that you're mentioning, if there's one, at least part of what seems to be coming out clearly, is that you're frustrated. You're very frustrated because these people that you're mentioning seemingly are standing in the way of you getting this contract. Why should South Africans buy your story? Because you are also an interested party. In fact, you have a massive vested interest here. And so why is this not you throwing mud just as they are trying to frustrate you?
South Africans don't have to believe me, Xoli. Okay? The people who matter do believe me. If you see my messages on my private LinkedIn and my private Twitter and my private WhatsApp, I'm happy with the people who believe in me. Okay, there's no way I could risk my life having led the top organizations in the world. Best ethics, best governance record. Why would I do that? At my late life, I've run successful entrepreneurship ventures. Why would I do that? So if people don't believe me, it's okay. I'm not saying it to be believed. I'm saying it because it's the right thing to do, and we need to change this country. I know that people like Wale Serote have said in public that the ANC has betrayed us. Okay?
He said it on this show.
Was it on this show?
Indeed.
Okay.
So let me ask you this final question.
Yeah.
You do not trust the South African Police Service.
No.
But you've at least got
and my brother is a policeman.
You've got at least trust in elements of the South African law system. Okay. Are you willing to go to court to ensure that your deal does go through? Because, as you say, it was signed on by the man who no longer runs it.
There's a lot of things I'm going to do. I'm also fundraising at the moment, okay? Because that's the thing. When you fight people who use state resources to go to the media, state resources to go to state attorneys who send you stupid letters. I mean, I've received some letters that for me, when I do my Netflix series one day, I think people are going to look back and say, no, you can't be serious. But fortunately, I've got the letters, right? And I've been paying from my pocket for 4.5 years. Okay, 4 years up to the point, 3.5 years up to the point where I signed the contract, another 10 months up to now, right? And everybody tells me that it's amazing that it's actually quite strange. People say, how come you're still okay? I said, why should I not be okay? They said, because people like you have been put in ICU by the South African government and ministers who are supposed to be part of the people who liberated us, or have died because their dreams were stolen and their ideas were stolen, right? It's not going to happen to me. It will not happen to me. I'll be around. But I'll also protect my friends, because some of them are my friends who were implicated in this. They also didn't know. I don't think, I'd like to believe they didn't know that they were going to be told that there's 10% required. They were just trying to find a solution.
Is Thobile Lamate among your friends?
He is a friend now. He's become a friend, actually, over this ordeal. He wasn't my friend before. He was a guy I met at the ILO representing the Department of Employment and Labor, because, if they needed favors with Minister Oliphant.
He also happens to be the same guy that signed on the dotted line for the 5 billion rand.
He wasn't my friend when he signed. He's my friend. Look, a friend is a very vast word, right? I hope you're not imputing that he signed because he's a friend, because that's not the case. But these are friendly people who I've built trust with over the years. They know this. They know that they've given 5 billion to the IDC. It's able to create about 14,800 jobs. Mine, one job, presidential catalytic projects, 2 of them. Oriana Honeywell owns the one, Tukela Lifestyle Project, will create 12 to 15,000 jobs. Sbu Mazibuko, which is the Cato Ridge dry port, will create between 15 and 20,000 jobs. And I'm only spending 300 million on them versus 5 billion that the IDC is using to create jobs, right? They know they need this, right? Okay? They know they need this. South Africa needs this. So South Africans, should I drop dead, because I'm told that I could drop dead because I've spoken, it's okay. I just want South Africa to know that it's okay. I know better people than me. Better people. Way better. Who've done a lot for this country. If this is what it requires, that some of us must be taken up, it's okay. I'm happy to go. But I will make sure that I also get my contract. As long as I'm alive, I'm getting that contract. So maybe I must go so that then they can do whatever they want with it. But as long as I'm alive, I'm getting that contract.
All right. Mr. Mdwaba, let me thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And wish you the best of luck. Hopefully, you're still going to be with us.
I think I will
for
be.
A long time.
I have reason to believe I shall be. Thank you.
We need to see jobs created in our country. Thank you for your time. But
thank you.
I've also got to invite the Minister of Employment and Labour, Mr. Nxesi. If you have been listening to this, please come through, including all of the other ministers.
Can I have a debate? Can I also be there? I'd like them. Yes. Face to face.
I'll be happy to facilitate.
Face to face, yeah.
I'll be happy to facilitate. But let's end it here. Still to come, the markets update with Wayne Makari, FNB Wealth and Investments Portfolio Manager.